Hello, welcome to Scrap Time episode 718. My name is Christine, and on today's episode, I'm showing you the Spellbinders Grand Impressabilities. So today I'm showing you the Spellbinders Grand Impressabilities. Here we have the Fall Splendor, and what they are is a metal stencil-like plate, and it embosses or debosses your paper. So I'm going to show you this Fall Splendor. I used a manila paper, and all the leaves and that have been pressed in to the paper, and then I just put some distress ink over it just to highlight the design. However, when I turn it over on the other side, the image has been embossed, so all these leaves and that are now pressing up. And so depending on which way you want, you can get both out of the stencil. You can either have the image raised up or the image pressed in. Here we have the Flower Delight. You can see it's a bunch of little flowers and the petals and that. And this time what I did is I did it on a pattern piece of paper, just to show you that you can use it to alter some of your pattern papers as well. So you can see again all the flowers and that have been pressed into the paper, and I just used the distress ink over it to bring out the design. This is the Fancy Flourish. You can see the really fine detail in this stencil here. This time I did it on some Spellbinders metal, and then I used a sanding block just to take off some of that excess, and you can see how pretty the design is pressed into the metal. This is the Butterfly Garden. It's really pretty. It's upside down with butterflies and flowers going throughout it and vines. And this time I used it as a stencil with some glimmer mist. I just lightly put my glimmer mist over it. I think it's upside down. Butterflies go both ways. But anyway, and just to get a little of the design. I didn't put too much because I didn't want it going underneath the stencil. So it was just a light design. But after I did that, I then got another piece of paper. And this time I flipped over my stencil and just rubbed off the excess glimmer mist onto the piece of paper. And you can see the lovely design it put there. So this is spraying with the stencil and then basically like doing a stamp with the stencil. And finally, this one I'm going to show you is Sea Flowers. You can see again it's a very fine design. And this time I took a piece of Coordinations paper and I ran it through and then just took a sanding block to rub off that top. And you can see a nice, pretty, subtle pattern it made there. So now I'm going to show you how to use these Grand Impressabilities. As you can see, it's a metal sheet here. And when I hold it up, it holds its shape. It's quite thick. You can hear the weight of it. And so it's a nice thick metal sheet. So what you do is you put it down on your base plate. Now because of the size of these, you want to use your grand caliber or a die cutting machine that is at least 8 inches wide. Otherwise it won't fit. If you really, really wanted to, you could cut it smaller, but I wouldn't suggest that. I like the nice big size. Next you want to lay your paper down. Now, the butterflies are what's going to be pressed. And so if I want the butterfly pressed into my paper, I would put my paper right side down. But I want my butterflies to be pushing out. So I'm going to put the back side of my paper down this time. Then you take your rubbery mat and lay it over top. And then you use the pink one, which is the embossing plate, as your topper. I'm going to pull over my grand caliber here. Push it through. now we're going to take off some of our layers. So here I have it. So now I have a sanding block, and I'm going to just lightly sand some of the paper to reveal the picture. Just kind of wipe away some of that excess dust. But you can see now the butterflies poking through. So if I had done it the other way, I'd be getting the in-between parts pink. But because I put my paper the bottom side down, I don't know if you can see that, but because I put it bottom side down, it's the butterflies that are that were embossed up. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. I think you get the idea. So that's a few different ways you can use the Grand Impressabilities. And if you just have a smaller machine, they originally came out with A2 size, like card size Impressabilities. So you can check those out as well and use them the exact same way that I've showed you today. Well, that's it for today's episode. Be sure to check out my website at www.scraptime.ca. And on our next episode, I'm showing you a new release from Lifestyle Crafts. So please join us. Thanks for watching Scrap Time.